Hey guys, we're back from hell. It all started back on November 17th. That's when I came up with the bright idea that we would take a vacation because I needed, and I think we all needed, some beach time. We've been in Manila. The girls have been there since like mid-May. I got here early June. And I like where we're at. I mean, it's got a lot of conveniences. The malls are right here, and restaurants, everything. It's fairly westernized living. You know what I mean? And that's sort of a good transition for me, right? Coming from the U.S. You know, I wouldn't have been able to just dump myself and my family here into a province area, and been happy, So anyway, but it had been like, since June. We did go to Bacolod in July, the end of July, for a week, and that wasn't bad. It did rain, because that is the rainy season, so you expect rain. That was July, the end of July. So, but there was about 3 days where it was decent. Where the days that I rented a van, it was okay. The weather was pretty good. So I mean, wasn't terrible. But that was more like for the girls to see their family after a very long time, uh, you know, of not seeing them, and stuff like that. That wasn't really like that wasn't going to be a beach vacation because Bacola doesn't have really a lot of beaches. Um, anyway, so I was like back in November when I figured out what day one of our girls is going to be off school. I figured at least for that week, between like right before Christmas and right after New Year. I thought, hey, let's go somewhere. So we decided to go to Porto Galera, okay, which is in Mindoro. It's basically northern Mindoro, you know, and you don't even really have to fly there from Manila. You can't really fly there from the major airport, okay. The ways to get there, unless you know somebody has a private plane, that's the only way you're gonna fly from Manila to Porto Galera. So what we did was there's different things you could do, right? You could just take depending on where you live, you could take some kind of grab or a taxi to the bus station, like the Ceres bus station, right? Which is more like in Metro Manila, sort of like closer to Pasay area and all that. And then you could take the bus. It's like I think it's really cheap. I think the bus is like 250 per person or something like that to go to Batangas. It's about a 3-hour bus ride from to Batangas from there, and I think it's still about 250 a person or something each way, which is pretty reasonable, less than $5 per person. Air conditioning bus and all that. You can get an aircon bus, and they're pretty comfortable. They have a TV screen. They'll put a movie on or whatever. It's not a bad bus. I've taken it before. And I've taken buses. Me and Amy have taken also buses from Dumaguete to Cebu. Uh, but anyway, so we didn't go that way, okay? Because it was just too much. Like, what if the bus is full, or like trying to get bus tickets in advance? And we were just like, you know what? Let's just take a. We got like a private driver, basically like a grab guy off the clock, basically, just doing it on the side. And we actually found them on Facebook. They actually have drivers that sort of advertise on Facebook here in the Philippines. So if you need them for like a long trip, like a 2-3 hour drive or something like that, they'll just do a flat fee. So that's what we did. And you know what? We left. I made arrangements back in November for all this, okay? So I'm thinking, hey, the weather's going to be fine. It's December, it's going to be sunny. It might not be like 90 degrees, but it'll be 80 to 85 degrees and sunny. That's what I'm thinking, right? That's what I've been here in December before, and that's what it was. It rained like a couple times. I was here for like Jesus, like 2 weeks back about 7 years ago, and it literally only rained for a short time, like twice, each time, short time. So we got there's like five of us. Okay, there's four of us, and then plus a niece we brought. So there was five of us. Okay, so try to navigate that with buses and all that crap. You know what I mean? Try to, yeah, nightmare. So we found the driver, and for I think it was 4,500 pesos. Okay, it's less than $90. That's probably 80, 85, something like that, right? In that ballpark. And it's about a 3 hour drive at least. As a matter of fact, it could have easily been a 4 hour drive, all the way from where we're at, you know. But you know what? We left on Christmas Eve, early in the morning, 5:30, 6 a.m., and there was no traffic. It was great. I mean, it was like for the first time I experienced, like, it was almost like U.S. driving, like on the expressway, on the Skyway, and the other expressway. It was just like, literally going like 50, 60 miles an hour, no traffic. I mean, we got there in 2.5 hours. So it was great. It was worth it. Um, and the bus is going to take pretty much 3 hours with no traffic, even because it makes stops and stuff like that. And plus, you just never know, if it's going to run late, or we couldn't miss the boat. You know what I mean? Like, we literally because in Batangas we took a boat, a ferry from Batangas to Puerto Galera. Okay, that's about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half boat ferry ride. Okay, so we didn't want to miss that. We wanted to make sure that was leaving at 10 a.m. Scheduled to leave at 10 a.m. So we got that, no problem. I mean, we were there. Geez, we were there before like 8:30 or something like that. You know, before 9. So we had our ticket and everything. And there's a there's a ticket. You have to, even though I paid in advance for all our tickets round trip on the boat. Okay, through this company, through this website, 12Go, I think is the name of it's a Singapore company, I believe. And it worked fine. I mean, I'm glad I did, because when we were in line waiting to get the actual tickets, that they give you, they were full. The boat was full. Like halfway through the line, they put the sign, it's full, boat is full, no more tickets. So anyone who just showed up there hoping to get a ticket, they were out of luck at that point. So I'm glad that I bought the tickets like a couple weeks in advance, or 10 days in advance, something like that. And so it was fine, right? We got the tickets. We paid there's like a port terminal fee that you have to pay also. I did that. I got the tickets, and then we went to the waiting area, for the boat and everything, right? So no issues. Um, the boats sometimes they run late, and they did this time. But we had plenty of time. We couldn't check in to the resort until I think it was a 1 o'clock check-in. So we were going to be there, even if it was late. We were probably going to be there by 12, 12:30, something like that. So no issues. And like I said, it was a little bit late, and then the weather was crappy. It was sort of overcast and raining a bit and stuff like that. And so anyway, so we got there and everything, and we took two trikes because we had luggage and 5 people. So we took two trikes, which was 150 each, about a 15-minute trike ride from the Batangas boat terminal to the resort. And Puerto Galera is a small town. I mean, I think there's only like 50,000 people. So it's like half the size of Dumaguete, as far as population and everything else, right? So, all right, so it's Christmas Eve, you know. Um, Everything's fine. The boat ride was fine. Um, I think I took some short videos and stuff on that. Uh, and we got there, no issues. I think they let us check in a little. We were a little early, but they let us check in. The rooms were ready, had been cleaned already, so We just had to wait for a short time, and then we were able to check in, no problem. And it was a and we, and I'm thinking, man, this is great, and hopefully, I mean, I'm thinking, hopefully, even though the extended forecast didn't look great, you know what I mean? It was like 50% chance of rain, almost every day. And I'm like, but I'm thinking, oh man, just give us a couple days at least, at this point, because I made the arrangements back in November, so you don't know that there's going to be a low pressure front, over the whole freaking country, for like a whole week, because basically most of the Philippines, I think, had like cool weather and rainy weather at the same, both, right? Not just where we went, it was like at least half the country and maybe more was like experiencing this low pressure area, over the, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh man. So I'm just thinking, just give us a couple days of goodness, you know what I mean, where we could go do some water sports and stuff like that, and maybe rent a wave runner. I wanted to go snorkeling, maybe even take a boat, get one of those like a catamaran or something, or a little island hopping, or there was various tour packages that they had, and stuff like that. And I thought, yeah, I wanted. I'm thinking we got there Christmas Eve, which was Saturday. Christmas Day was Sunday. I didn't expect to do anything until Monday, because I'm thinking, all right, we'll relax during the actual holiday, because maybe places won't be open anyway. And then Monday, I was hoping Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we could do stuff. And then we were going to plan to go back Friday, the following Friday after, before New Year's. So, the best laid plans of moose and men. So yeah, it didn't work out very good. It was basically, I mean, it was kind of crappy weather, right? But again, we're like, by Monday, hopefully it'll be better. And so it was, I mean, it rained and it was sort of cooler. It wasn't like water sport weather, you know what I mean? But we figured, hey, we'll go out and do these tours, these land tours, right? We'll see all the different sites in Puerto Galera. And there was like a whole tour package, for a set amount, including the driver and everything. And you go to like maybe 6, 7 different places, and you know what I mean, and waterfalls. And, one of them was a waterfall, and one of them was a really nice harbor and a nice kind of almost like an ocean walk or something, like what you'd call a river walk, but it was like on the ocean. And it was, it was just nice. Uh, and then there was even a beach. There was a beach too, where you had to climb over some rocks and stuff to get to it, which we did. Um, most of us. And then, so like I said, it was sort of like, yeah, it was raining, and it was it was overcast and stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't the dream weather that you want. It wasn't beach weather at all. In fact, it was so cool. I mean, it was the coolest I've ever experienced here in the Philippines. It was like it was like maybe 70 to 75 degrees, and then there was a cool breeze, like where we were staying, right off the ocean. We had an ocean suite, ocean view and everything. And I swear to God, it felt like 65 degrees Fahrenheit sometimes. And I don't know about you guys, any guys who are outside of Baguio or, northern Luzon, if you're like me and you've only been to like Manila and then south of Manila in the Philippines, you've never experienced that. So anyway, it was cool and overcast and stuff like that, and the big waves. It was kind of nice hearing the waves, because they were rolling in pretty big. But yeah, the weather sucked. And then I think this was toward the last stop on the tour. It was either the last or the second to the last, I believe, on Monday, which was a week, well, a little over a week ago, 9 days ago, something like that. Today's Wednesday. And yeah, one of our girls fell down and basically reactivated kind of an existing situation, with her knee. it was something that had happened before, but it would have been like 5 years ago the first time it happened. And then I think 2 years after that, it happened again, right? But it was before I came here to live. And in fact, even the second time that this happened was before my first trip with Amy, like about 2 months before I got here on that very first trip that we spent together in 2019. So, so it had been 3 years or whatever, you know what I mean, since the last incident. Well, this time it was really bad, and it's like a dislocated knee situation is really what it is, because the cartilage is gone, or pretty much gone from the previous initial injury. So it's always been I think it's always been a little weak, And anyway, so unfortunately, she fell, and we were like, oh shit. We ran down there, and it seemed like, we were kind of helping her walk and stuff, like, and then it seemed like, okay, maybe it won't be so bad, because her mom kind of knew what to do, like kind of aligned it better, you know what I mean? It's sort of like, okay. And anyway, we tried, we did the best we could, and this is a small town. So we weren't really thinking like, oh yeah, let's try to go to a hospital, because there probably wasn't a hospital within 2 hours of that town, like a decent hospital. So we're like, all right. So, and it seemed like it wasn't too bad for a while, right? We were still at the harbor, and then she sat down for a while, and then when she got up, it was like we noticed it was swollen, like big time swole up. So we just kind of, we went back to the resort. We got her up to the room, which had no elevator, so it's like 3 flights of stairs, no elevator, and we were like, oh, so we're like carrying her up, basically, like, so we got her up to the room, and then we got some ice. We got some, then we went later to the drugstore, got some pain medication, and a wrap, like those elastic wraps that people sometimes use, for like leg injuries or whatever, leg or knee injuries. So, and that was the best we could do, really, and to manage it. And then she just kind of had this is Monday now. We're not slated to go home till Friday. Well, we came home on Thursday, morning. So, we basically, for those days, I mean, we didn't really get to do much, but the weather sucked anyway. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like we were really missing out on anything, because the weather sucked. It was not cooperating at all. So, but basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she was basically like in bed with her leg elevated, and we were bringing the food up to her room and stuff like that. And she was just like, couldn't really go anywhere. And Amy was kind of trying to stay close to her in case she needed to go to the bathroom, she needed to do this or that. So, we weren't really able to do much. I mean, me and the other girls, one day, I think it was the day before we left, I think it was Wednesday, for about 2 hours, it was like, ooh, it stopped raining, and the sun was coming out. So we were able to sort of, I brought a frisbee, and I kind of taught them how to, we were throwing the frisbee around a little bit for a while on the beach. And then we actually were like, hey, it looks decent. The sun's finally, the clouds kind of moved away, and there's a little bit of sun. And the water was warm. The ocean water was warm. So we went in. We got to finally go in the water for like maybe an hour and a half, And that was it. And I got a little sun, but it's gone now. But I mean, I got a little sun. I left my T-shirt on because I didn't want to get sunburn on my, everywhere else. So we're in there just for a while. So at least we got to experience the ocean a little bit. Got into the ocean. And the waves are big, man. They were coming in like it would have been good surfing, like if you knew how to surf, which I don't. Um, so anyway, so yeah, it kind of sucked, and I was able to sort of. I mean, we paid through Thursday, and then we were going to leave Friday, but we wound up just leaving Thursday. We checked out Thursday, and I think I had to change something, right? Like the boat. Oh yeah, I had to change the boat tickets, which we did, and I think I had to pay about $10 for that because we made the change from Friday to Thursday departure. But there was plenty of tickets and everything, and so we were able to do it. And you know what? They were very helpful, man, on the boat. And this is kind of indicative of the Philippines too. The spirit, they'll help you, man. Like no matter what. Like when she fell down, even we were at that bay or harbor area, and man, there was just like there must have been like 6 Filipino guys that just boom, swarmed to help us, and stuff. Even though my wife kind of knew what to do, Amy kind of, you know, but I mean they were trying, you know what I mean, to help and stuff. And and here at on the boat, they had a wheelchair and they lifted her up the stairs, because you can't stay on that main level where the vehicles go, like on a ferry boat. You can't sit up down there. You have to go up at least to the one level above that, you know. So they lifted her, and we were sort of like hanging out. There was these nice seats, almost like a couch, right outside the business class and between the bathrooms, and that's where we hung. That's where we sat. You know what I mean? Like all of us, and so that was worked out. You know what I mean? It worked out good. When we arrived in Batangas, they everyone else pretty much, they let all the people get off first, and then they took uh, they took Andrea down, with the on the wheelchair. So, but coming on the boat, I think they let us on first. You know what I mean? Like we were early on getting on, but then getting off, it's like just let everybody get off because there's no way they're gonna hold up everybody to do that. But it was fine. We went out, and then we got another driver. We had already arranged for the other driver for Friday, but then we changed it to Thursday. And but that guy was a little bit more, but he was good. He was a good driver, but it was more like what the normal fee would be, which was like around. It wound up. I gave him 6,000. I gave him a little tip, but not that much. I mean, because it was like 4,500 plus all the tolls and everything, so it was almost probably over 5,500 anyway, or something. Like maybe 57. And then I just gave him 6. You know what I mean? Like, he was a good guy, and he was actually from where Amy's from also, so they were talking and stuff, and he was a good guy. And he waited, man. He was there early, so and we were late because our boat was late, like big time, like an hour and a half late. So he was sitting there waiting for like Jesus, I don't know how long, like 3 hours probably in a parking lot. Yeah. So but anyway, yeah, and then coming home wasn't terrible. It was about 3.5 hours, maybe. It was sort of evening, you know. We left early evening, so it was already getting dark and everything, and it wasn't bad to drive. And again, not too much traffic, you know. But like we're in the northern part of like Manila or Quezon City, so I mean, hell, we're like an hour from whenever people talk about Pasay or Intramuros, like the center of Manila, where all the tourist stuff is. We're like an hour north of that. You know what I mean? Like a taxi ride hour. You know what I mean? Or I don't care if you're Mario Andretti taxi driver. It's going to be an hour. Uh, so yeah, it's you got to factor that in. That's the only drawback about where we live. Whenever we want to go somewhere like Manila Bay or something like that, man, it's like an all day there and back. It's like you're looking at almost 4 hours of driving. So. So anyway, guys, that was our nightmare vacation. We wound up we really wanted to go to the beach and just have some fun and like just have we knew it wasn't going to be like 90 degrees, but we figured, hey, 80 to 85, just a couple days anyway of decent weather, and we couldn't even get that. It was like freaking cold and basically rainy for like the whole week. So we were actually glad to be home. Believe it or not, we were like, you know, and and we did. We went to the doctor yesterday, after the New Year, and so we have an MRI tomorrow for her knee, and then we're gonna get it operated. We're gonna get it fixed finally. Okay, next week, operation. So I'll tell about that too. Doctor's good though. This hospital's, I'm telling you, it's Commonwealth Medical Center on Regalado. If you're ever in this area or something, it's a good hospital. Like, it really is. You don't have to go to St. Luke's. That's not the only decent place in Manila or in the Philippines. Unless you want to pay like 3 times what you're going to pay here. Then go there. If you're rich, be my guest. But anyway, yeah, I got no complaints about this place. So they also set her up with a kind of almost like a cast. It's like a wrap with a brace, you know. Plus we got her crutches, and stuff. And like when her knee is straight, when her leg is straight, there's no issues. But when you try to bend it or something like that, it's a nightmare. So yeah, we're gonna get it fixed. So I know this is a long one. Probably won't get any views on this, but that's about it, guys. If you got any questions though about anything, don't be afraid to comment. Please like, subscribe, and yeah, like I said, comment. I'm happy to answer any questions. So, all right, guys, that's about it. I will talk to you later. Hey, just a quick correction. Earlier, I think when I mentioned like instead of saying the Puerto Galera port to our resort was a 15-minute trike ride, I think I said Batangas. So I misspoke earlier in the video. But obviously, yeah, the 15-minute trike ride is from the actual Puerto Galera port. The port, the boat terminal to our resort was 15-minute trike ride for about 150 pesos, each trike. We took 2 trikes because we had 5 people plus luggage. So, all right, guys, that's it. Just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.